Okay, so now we've gone over serial dilutions and we understand ratios and dilutions and what they are. Okay, so now we're going to do some practice problems. So you're always going to know what dilution you guys are going to be needing, because you're going to say, I'm going to need a 1 to 2 dilution or a 1 to 10 dilution, serial dilution, right? So you always know what your first dilution is going to be. Okay, so if we know what our first dilution is supposed to be, which is 1 to 10, what is our ratio? How many units have to already be in here? And how many units are we adding? And I have to tell you that traditionally with serial dilutions, the unit that you're adding is usually going to be 1. Very rarely will you do serial dilutions with 2s or 3s. It's usually just 1 unit. So 1 milliliter, 1 microliter, or units of ones like 10, things like that. It's not going to be 2 to 5 or things like that. That's not, we very rarely do those. Okay, so we have a 1 to 10 dilution here. What is our ratio? What do we need to add? So we know we need to add 1 because we always add 1, right? So we have a 1 to 10 dilution. What's our ratio? What do we have to add? Or what is already in here in this tube 1 to make 10? If we're already adding, we have to add 1, what's in here to get to 10? And it would be 9 because 10 minus 1 is 9. So all of these now are 9 units. I'm going to say milliliters. Okay. All right, so now we know our ratio is 1 to 9. Okay. For tube 2, what is our dilution? Right now we know that 1/10 of what we have in here after we've added our 1 milliliter. So now we have a total of 10 milliliters, right? When you add the 1 milliliter to the 9, we have 10 milliliters. 1 milliliter of that is patient serum, as you can see, and 9 milliliters of that is the saline. So it's a 1 to 10 dilution. The ratio of what you put in, 1 of patient serum, 9 of saline, right? What about our next one then? What's our next dilution? Remember when we did double dilutions and it was 2 times 2? What do you think this would be now? 10 times 10. So what's 10 times 10? 100. So our dilution for tube 2, I'm a little squished here. Our tube 2 dilution, hang on. Oh my gosh. Our tube 2 dilution is 1 to 100 because 10 times 10 is 100. Now we are saying that when we take 1 milliliter of this and put it into these 9 milliliters, so now we have 10 milliliters, but only 1%, basically 1 out of 100, 1/100th of this in this test tube is our patient sample, and 99% of it is saline. Okay, so if we know that 1% is our ratio is 1, so we're going to add 1 unit. What is our ratio here? What do we have to add? We add 1 to what to get to your 100? Or what's 100 minus 1? 99. Okay, so now we go ahead and we do it again. Okay, what is our dilution now for this third tube? What's 100 times 10? 1,000. I'm going to run out of room here, but you'll still see what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, plus I can't write, hold on. So I'm just going to put tube 3. Okay, sweet. So now we're saying that as far as fractions go, in 1,000 units, in this tube, only 1 unit, in this case, only 1% of this tube is, Actually, that's not true. Only 0.1% or only 1/1000th of this tube is the serum. 1 over 999, 1 over 999, 999 over 1,000. That's what I'm talking about. 999 over 1,000 is the fraction of saline that is in this tube. So now we're talking really diluted. Now it's like a 1 to 1,000 dilution where you have, if you were going to make this a solution in milliliters, once we find our ratio, which is 1,000 minus 1, which is, okay. So in order to make this, if we would use milliliters, we would have 1 milliliter of patient serum and 999 milliliters, which is almost a whole liter. Is that true? Yeah, almost a whole liter of saline. So that is very, very dilute. Okay, that's why the dilutions, the higher the number of the dilution, the more diluted it is every single time you do it exponentially. Okay. So now let's do tube 4. So we're going to add 1 milliliter from tube 3 into tube 4. Okay. So what's our dilution? What is 1,000 times 10? 10K, 10,000. And sometimes just to save space, I'll put 10K for 10,000, okay? This means that in our dilution, our serum concentration fraction is 1 over 10,000th of this solution here is serum, and all the rest is saline. So we're going to figure out our ratio now of how we would make this solution. Okay, so of course starts with 1. What's our ratio, you guys? What's 10,000 minus 1? 9,999. So if you were making this, you would add 1 unit of patient specimen, say milliliters, to 9,999 milliliters of saline, okay, which is like 10 liters. So now you're talking 1 milliliter in the giant jugs. So that's extremely diluted, okay? So we're going to keep going to tube 5. Okay. What is 10,000 times 10? 100,000. What's our ratio? Just do the math. What is 100,000 minus 1? Be 99,999. Okay, so this is saying that the percent or the fraction of serum is 1 to 100,000. In order to make a solution in units, you would have 1 milliliter or 1 unit to 99,999 units of saline and 1 unit of patient serum. So that is like extremely, extremely totally diluted. But that's how you figure out, you start with your dilution. And again, this only works, this quick mathing only works if you have ones. Oh, sorry. As you if you have ones as your numerator, okay? Or the left-hand side of your dots. This is why some people do, instead of a 1 to 9 ratio, they'll do a 1 to 9 as a fraction. Okay, because then you can say in the numerator has to be 1 all the time. So when I talk about the numerator, it's always this 1 on the left here, because I generally do my dilutions with the 2 dots. All right, I'm gonna try one more. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. We need a 1 to 5 dilution. Okay. So we know that our first in tube 1 will be 1 to 5. What's our ratio? How much patient serum are we going to put in? It's always going to be 1 unit. And how much has to be in here to get to a 1 to 5 dilution? Do that quick math. What's 5 minus 1? 4. So for tube number 1, we're saying that 1/5 of this solution is patient serum, patient serum, and the other 4/5 are saline. Okay. In order to make it, you put in 1 unit of patient serum and you put 4 units of saline. Okay. So now, what about tube 2? We're going to put one. I should have just left that. We're going to put 1 unit, okay, into here, and all of these are now, we know that we started with our ratio. We're putting 1 in. Our ratio is what we're putting in. And then the right-hand part of our ratio, that would be the denominator, if you would do a fraction, would be how much is already in there. So now we have 4s. So remember, the ratio is how much you are putting in to how much is already in there. Your dilution is how much you are putting in there. And then you have to add how much is in there to what, add the how much you're putting in there plus what is already in there. And that is your dilution. Don't forget that part, because that kind of, that's why this is so easy to do as far as subtraction. So, okay. So our second tube now, we know what's 5. What's our ratio for the second, or our dilution for the second? What's 5 times 5? Okay, so our second one is 1 to 25. Our ratio would be, what's 25 minus 1? 1 to 24. Okay, what's 5 times 25? For tube 3, what's 5 times 25? 125. Okay, oops, 1. So our ratio would be, what's 125 minus 1? 1 to 124. Okay, what's 5 times 125? What's 625 minus 1? And that's as far as I know, as far as my 5s. So I'll just stop there. You got it. But anyway, so again, this is what this is saying is the fraction of how much there, 1/625th of whatever is in tube 4 is saline. And the other 624 out of 625 units fraction is saline. And that's how you would make it. You would have 624 units of saline already in a tube or a jug or a 5-gallon bucket or whatever you'd like. And then you would add 1 unit of patient specimen to get your ratio, because your dilution is 1 to 625. So the only thing you need to start with is what dilution you want. And then you can go from there and figure out all the way up the line. Okay, I hope this helps. If you have any questions or you want to go over some more, just contact me and let me know, okay? All right, thanks. See ya.